What's going on, guys? T2RX6 here, back for another third-party review, and today we're taking a look at the Hot Soldiers. I think it's impossible or illegal to not say it that way. Prop Sky Pillar, obviously this is their Optimus Prime. Yeah, so I told you last week, stay tuned for this one, and here it is as promised. So let's first start by taking a look at some accessories. So the bag of accessories is a little weird. We've got a transparent blue matrix. There's a painted one that's in his chest, I'll show you later. Mine came with two plastic Autobot symbols here. There's no way to just stick them onto the trailer, but obviously they're intended to go there. So I guess glue or some kind of sticky tack. I got a axe in the proper color and an axe in a transparent blue. So of course you get roller, and compared to the Magic Square one, this one's a little more squished. Here's the Magic Square one here for reference. I feel like Magic Square maybe is better shaped for roller. These wheels, they just don't really work on this roller at all. The red paint for the light though is just brilliant looking. You do have some of the seat details. I feel like this one is a little bit better detailed. It's more interesting to look at, but its shape doesn't feel quite right to me compared to the Magic Square one. And it's certainly, the wheels here feel better, which makes this feel higher quality, but this one's not hollow at the bottom, so somehow like the chunk of this one maybe feels better. It's very confusing, but in the end I do think that I prefer the Magic Square roller. But roller's really not that important for me to display. But here's the two of them so you can make your own decision. And of course there's Optimus Prime's blaster. This one feels much more appropriate than Magic Square's last week. It seems to be the right size. No paint on it, which is a bummer. The Magic Square gave us a little bit of a gray in there. But you can just kind of see the difference in two very similarly sized Primes. The way the blasters look. This is way more appropriate to Optimus Prime in my opinion. So of course there's the trailer, and that's an accessory too. It's painted very nice in silver with the nice paint for the stripe here. Optimus does just hang onto the trailer. He clips in, you can swivel it around, and he holds in just fine like that. No problems there. The little side panels, they do come out, but unlike the Magic Square, there is no dropping this part down, so nothing you can do there. But these supports, they were kind enough, if you can look right here, you can see them sticking out just a little, and that's so you can, without any real work, get your finger in there and pull those out, which is a super awesome addition, because that's not something Magic Square did. Opening up the top, you do have to kind of put a little bit of pressure on the plastic here to open this up. And then you see the ramp doesn't neatly tuck in there, but it is folded right up, and it will contact the ground. Of course, when it comes to the cars, they look great. The wheels do fit on the ramp for the most part. Something's wrong with my... So when it comes to like your New Age / Magic Square cars, they do fit on the ramp better. It's still a little bit off, but it's not really as bad as the Magic Square one was. Here's Jazz on here. The back tires are a little bit of an outlier just because they stick out so far. Here is your Magic Square Inferno. And this is something I really wanted to hammer home about the trailers. I'll put this on the side and you can just see the difference in the trailer. Now, I don't think the long trailer on Prime looks inappropriate, and when I look at it and I think of it from a car carrying standpoint, it can carry two, whereas Magic Square can carry one. So I just feel like when you scale it in alt mode, the longer trailer is not really all that weird looking. So when it comes to the trailer opening, obviously you can fit your cars inside. Jazz isn't going to fit there because of the extended wheel arch, which is a problem on the Magic Square one as well. He's not fitting in there. But your like Datsun type cars, they fit in like that on the Magic Square. That's as far in as they're going to go. And on this one, he goes in quite a bit more, to the point that if you wanted, you could really fit another one in there. Let's open it on up. So opening the trailer up, you can see there's really not all that much interesting to look at. You do have kind of like those little emplacements that like the MP spike would sit in on the full-size masterpiece, and you have the repair bay. Now the repair bay thing is a little weird because A, it's kind of its own little car with wheels that don't move, and B, it has to sit in there like this. If it is the other way, you can kind of get it to close, but hold on, let's jump cut here. So this is with the repair bay thing facing the other way, and I don't understand it because it just doesn't close. The only thing I can think of is that this little blue piece here, I think must be contacting the body or something, which doesn't happen when it's this way. It seems like a really painful oversight, like they could have changed that or had it flip flat or something, but you just have to have it like that, or just take it out if you don't want it. But you can, like this, extend this up and put it out the roof of the truck if that's something that interests you there. Of course it flips around, the guns flip up and down, the hatch opens, the little radar dish goes up, the claw moves around. Still no articulation on the claw, but it's fine. This one does feel at least a little bit nicer. I do wish that they did this elbow joint a little different because I just don't like that it doesn't kind of have any downward to it, if you understand what I'm saying. Like, I guess you have to do it that way to make it happen, which is fine, but I don't know, it feels strange to me, I guess. Of course, with the repair thing out of the way, you can definitely get two of your Legend scale cars in here. It's not going to close up just because of Jazz being wider, but you can see if we had two regular cars, this is going to close just fine without any problems, and I really like that. That's something that can't happen on Magic Square. So here's our Hot Soldiers and our Magic Square Optimus in their truck mode, and it does play a little optical illusion on you that if I line up these trailers so they're in line on my hand, the way the camera looks is like I put this one further back, but I promise you they are the same distance, same like that. But it's I would say like a 3, maybe 4-inch difference between the lengths of them, and it doesn't feel right. So looking at the trucks themselves, I think the Magic Square one, it does have some nicer details. All this extra paint is really nice. I cannot say that looks bad on the Magic Square one. I wish there was more on the Hot Soldiers, but I don't necessarily feel like the Hot Soldiers really looks that far behind. We have smokestacks that don't fall out. I guess we could use a little extra paint detailing on the side, maybe those stripes if you're into them, but I don't think that it's that big of a difference, to be honest with you. So we're going to zoom out here for some size comparisons, and here is like the Magic Square Inferno, the New Age cars, just kind of for a comparison. I really just feel like when you have these guys together, they end up looking much better because of the length of the Hot Soldiers trailer. And here, of course, is our obligatory Matchbox size Grand National and a GoBot, just for reference there. So transforming this Optimus is what I would call both easy and fun. You kind of open these little pieces up here. That's going to give them enough room to slide down here. You're going to come down here, open up these two panels, kind of combiner wars the legs out, and then fill that back in by closing that up. Open up the toes, if you didn't do it already while looking at it on camera, and split the legs. Coming up to the front of the truck, open up these panels here and fold them in. Fold them in. Take the arms out like this to the side here. And this part does kind of cause me a little bit of trouble just because you got this little panel in the way here. So open that up and fold that down and go ahead and rotate the fist around. So go ahead on this side. Get this to slide on out like so. Rotate that down. And we got that just like we do with absolutely every other Optimus Prime. Rotate this piece down and kind of rotate the truck around with it. Rotate it down. Rotate the front of the truck around with it. This is going to come up as you would expect. Again, pretty well with every single Prime. Take the waist, rotate it around, and bringing that into position. open up this head area. You're going to need to get the back of the truck out of the way just to make enough clearance for his head to come out. Bring the head out, close that back up, and go ahead and fold these in. And there we go. We've got our Optimus Prime in his robot mode. So let's take a look at Optimus here. You can see here's his head. His head does feel like it needs something a little bit different. It's not terrible, but it's not bad. One thing I really like here is the way that the abs kind of go up on that angle here to the chest, and there's no gap underneath here. Of course, if you want to, you can open up his chest here, and the matrix is actually in a usable matrix cavity here, if we can get it out. So there we go. I've removed the matrix from the cavity, and you can see how it's held in there. The matrix itself is really quite nicely painted with the silver and like the copper orange and the blue. It just holds in there. It's really nice. I wish Magic Square did something like that as well. I think where this is, whoops, forgot to flip his hand around. I think where this toy is flawed a little is that this flap right here just sits on the side. I do wish that this tucked away a little nicer and maybe was on the underside of his arm or something. But that is probably the only area where there's any like kibble that I think looks bad. Looks good holding his gun. I guess the screws are a little unsightly, but you could always hit that with a little red paint if you want. Coming down to the crotch here, you don't get to move this out of the way, but he's got plenty of range of motion out of his legs, so it's really not that big of a deal. Maybe this blue would look a little nicer, but it's never really bothered me until I guess right now, but even then it's not bothering me. The gas canisters just sit on the legs instead of tucking away nicely, so you do see the wheels. Again, that's never something that's bothered me with an Optimus Prime. When I first got this guy out of the box and transformed him, I pretty much was amazed that he felt just very much like a masterpiece the whole way around. Everything kind of made sense where it was, and the silhouette he gave was great. So real quick, here's a size comparison with your New Age Bumblebee, New Age Smokescreen, Magic Square Grapple, and I just feel like it works. You know, you got like the leader size character, the Voyager, the Deluxe, and I guess like a Scout basically, and that scale makes sense to me. A quick look at him next to the Magic Square Optimus Prime. Like I said, I do think the Magic Square has the slightly better head sculpt here, but the size of the head on the shoulders feels more appropriate on the Hot Soldiers one, and really the overall stature of the characters is not all that much different, maybe a couple millimeters difference here. Now I will say on the colors, the matte colors of the Hot Soldiers maybe looks more cartoon accurate. The blue specifically, this one kind of looks like more like that toy blue, but I still don't think that it looks terrible, all things considered. So the one thing that I think does make a difference to me, because all around I feel like I like the Hot Soldiers one better than the Magic Square Prime, but if you're someone who got the DX9 Dinobots, then suddenly, I mean, like this Optimus Prime and this Grimlock are just about the same height, whereas this maybe feels a little more appropriate with Grimlock kind of standing a little taller than Optimus here. However, if you're not my friend Robert D, Mech Fans Toys also kind of knocked off these Dinobots and went ahead and oversized them quite substantially. And I actually kind of feel like the size difference between Grimlock and Hot Soldiers Optimus looks better to me, because it's kind of the same difference as like Fans Toys Grimlock to Masterpiece Optimus, in my opinion. Whereas this is kind of like Hasbro Optimus to MP, or Hasbro Grimlock to MP10 in terms of scaling. So it's really, scales in the eye of the beholder, obviously. If you like the DX9 ones, then I think, for me personally, Magic Square looks just nicer in front of that, and the Hot Soldiers looks a little bit nicer in front of the Mech Fans Toys. Which, by the way, if you know someone selling a Mech Fans Toys sludge in the gold color, let me know. So let's get this guy to his truck mode and let's get out of here. We're going to start by doing the wrists here because they're the one thing that I always forget. We'll flip this around and kind of flip that up just to have that out of the way. In fact, let's just get the legs done. Close that up. Close these up. Combiner wars this on in. Close those panels, and the legs are mostly done. So coming to the front of the robot here, we're going to go ahead and turn the fists around here. Now I put a little bit of pressure on this elbow, which tends to help get these little pieces to come out a little bit easier. Just kind of pull it out and then push on the back side of the hinge, and that should pop it on up. We're going to take these pieces here, move the smokestacks up like that so we can get better clearance on them. Rotate these around and in place. And we'll do it again for the other side here. Rotate it around and in place. Kind of having the bumpers lined up here. Bring the abdomen area out and kind of fold it in place. Open this. Tuck his head away. From here, make sure that your flap is on the opposite side of the smokestack and fold this in. Now this part can be a little bit tough because you have to make sure that you get enough clearance, but you should be able to slide it in between the pieces here. So I'll kind of show that again. Put the flap on the other side of the smokestack, fold that down, kind of fold this around and in place, and just kind of a little bit of pressure just to get it to fit in there. From there, take these, fold them closed on both sides, and they should look pretty good with the line of the truck there. And now just take these little gas canisters, bring them around, and as you can see, kind of pinch those in and peg in the pieces there. And there we go. We've got Optimus back to his truck mode. And yeah, if I was going to pick one of these guys again, either the Hot Soldiers or the Magic Square one, honestly, I would go with the Hot Soldiers one every day of the week because I feel like just about everything related to it is better. I like the trailer, I like the way it secures, I like the look of it in bot mode, so this is the one that I would choose, and I think it doesn't hurt that, if I recall correct, this is a little bit cheaper. So, this is T2RX6, I hope you guys enjoyed the review, and I'll see you next time.